To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land.
And so we've let Toontown design with families and inclusivity in mind. We've designed this space entirely accessible. You'll see a lot of representation on the model. We have wheelchair accessibility all throughout the land, throughout all of our interactive fountain. You'll be able to get right up in there and play live with everybody else.
Nice.
Yeah, we really want to design this for every kid of every ability on the spectrum. There's sensory touch points. There's places for kids who are on the spectrum. You need a place to settle down and...
Hey guys, welcome back to Adventures Beyond Adversity. So if you've been watching us for a while, I'm sure that you know that we have made several videos about Disneyland's new Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway ride and some of the issues that we've seen with it around disability accessibility. So today what we wanted to talk to you about was the new renovated Toontown, kind of overall, take an overall view of the disability accessibility of the land, because Disneyland is really going out of their way to tout the inclusiveness of the land for everyone of all abilities. So we have gone through the land several times and have kind of picked out some things that we like and maybe don't like so much about, the newly renovated Toontown.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that we can start with some of the things that we've seen that are good, and maybe we're a step in the right direction. One thing is that, the houses there are accessible, seem to be wheelchair accessible.
Very accessible.
We didn't film in all of them because, there are a lot of kids, especially in the Goofy's house, because the kids are lingering there playing, all the little interactive things, which is cool. I like that.
Yeah, what I've noticed with Goofy's is it is the one you have the most hands-on with.
Yes.
Where?
And I think it's at a level where kids in wheelchairs can access it, which is good. I think that that's something where there's a lot of inclusion and playing together in that area.
Right. Where Mickey and Minnie's are both a walkthrough
photo op, but there are the little, like in Minnie's, there's like the little sitting area with her boudoir area where she puts on her makeup. And we notice, that stuff's at little kid level too, where I think that little kids in wheelchairs can access it. You rolled up to some of the stuff, the fridge and the, the mirror.
Right.
So it seems like it's pretty accessible. So that I think is a win, as far as inclusion, right?
Yes.
Okay. And let's see here. We have, I think that this, I don't know how practical it is, but I think it was a cute idea that they put Braille on the routes in Centennial Park. I'm not sure how many low sight or blind children are able to play around in there with it being such uneven ground and all the bumps and rolls. And I'm not sure how practical it is from that point of view. So that's kind of missed. But the fact that they kind of have that touch of the Braille in there, I thought was cute.
What I noticed with the Braille, because I got a little bit closer than you did, it's not raised. It's actually sunken in.
Yeah.
It's the complete opposite of what Braille is known for.
But it's something.
As far as my experience with Braille.
Yeah, our experience, yeah. But and I could see from where I was at that, and something that's been pointed out by others is that it's peeling. The paint.
Yes,
the
paint is peeling really bad
over there. So I'm not sure with multiple touch contact how long that's gonna hold up. But it's a cute idea. I'm not sure how practical that is, and we're gonna go into more about that in the negative column. And then there's moving to Donald's house. There's the splash pad over by his house.
Right.
We still haven't gotten to see it actually operational. And I think
it's been too cold.
It's been too cold. We talked to a cast member, said that it doesn't operate when it's cold.
Right.
I think that will be probably one of the most accessible play features outside, and even inside, because it's, kind of cramped in there. But I think that would be a really accessible thing for kids in wheelchairs. You can roll right through it. Just like anybody else could walk right through the water, and you can enjoy it on a hot day. But Ben brought up, as a wheelchair user, well, of course I know that I'm not going to be able to roll my electric scooter through there, so I think maybe a kid in electric wheelchair might have a hard time unless they want to short out their wheelchair. But Ben brought up something from a manual wheelchair's user point of view that I didn't think about, and I'm not sure how many parents of kids are worried about this, but
wheel bearings get wet, they rust.
Yeah.
And you've got 8 of them on a wheelchair. I'm not going to put a, $5,000 wheelchair through a bunch of water. If I can't, if I can avoid it at all costs, I will.
So I'm not sure how much of a issue that's going to be for all kids, but I mean, there's probably some parents out there, especially if you've had a custom wheelchair from, say, box wheelchairs or something like that. You're not going to want to, you're not going to want to get it rusty and have to pay for a whole new wheelchair when it starts to rust.
No.
And then I think one of the other big pluses that we saw is that, and this was a big one for me, is the shady spots, like the quiet area where Chippendale's treehouse used to be, on the other side of that green space. It's a good idea. I like it.
That was a space we talked about that was really mushy as far as the grass goes, and it's settled. It's a little bit harder, but there are still some spots that are a little soft.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the first time we went there, it was. If you saw our live, and when we went through there, it was. We thought it was going to be really difficult for Ben to push on the fake grass. It was the first time. We've been through there several times. It's like he said, it's settled. So if you're somebody with a sensory issue and you can get through all the loud music, it's a nice spot to relax, get some shade, and kind of get away from all that loud music that's in the rest of the land.
Oh, it's still over there, but it's not as loud.
It's supposed to be a quiet spot.
Yeah.
So it gets quieter over there, I think, Yeah.
If you get in that little
pocket where it's shady, like I said, where it's shady.
If you can find space, because it's taken up real quick by people that don't need to be over there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's for everybody to enjoy. So.
Yeah, it's my opinion.
I just hope that, if somebody that really needs it, like a kid that really needs to get away from the noise, that they're able to access it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are the major pluses that we saw. And if there were some drawbacks within that I think we're going to get more into, like the negatives. The observation area, like Ben has pointed out, it was pretty difficult to push up there for him. All the different ramps up, and then a ramp up, and then a ramp up. So for somebody, that doesn't have that great strength, it might be difficult to get up there. It's for kids, so you're going to have kids that are getting pushed up there by their parents. So that's
the majority are going to be pushed up by their families.
So it's nice that kids can get that nice view of Toontown, like anybody else might be able to, if they could get upstairs. My issue with it is the slides. So you get up there and there's these slides, and then so I'm thinking, okay, you put your kid down the slide, and then you gotta push their chair all the way down to the bottom, and then they're kind of, if they have low mobility, then they're kind of an obstruction for other kids that want to use the slide. They're kind of in the way. So as an observation area, cool. As a slide for kids that may have low mobility and not able to move out of the way and get back into their chair.
Well, if you're trying to get back into your chair, you're on the ground. Your chair is 20 feet up the hill.
So I'm not sure how functional that slide portion of it is for a kid in a wheelchair.
Oh, it looks cool though.
It looks cool.
Yeah, and you do get a really nice view of the land up there.
Yeah,
I will say that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And let's see. So, and I think we've kind of, within some of the other things that we've said, we pointed out that the splash pad is kind of bad if you don't want to rust your chair. The shady spots, you have to get through all that noise. The Centennial Park is very bumpy. And that's the same thing around Donald's boat. If you saw our live stream, there was, it was that fake, like turf or
it's fake grass.
It was by Donald it wasn't even fake grass.
Oh,
it's like
that, it was even lower.
It's like that spongy industrial carpeting. So technically Ben could have pushed over there, but just like in Centennial Park, there's these uneven bumpy spots like that were simulating waves. So it kind of creates an obstruction. Maybe even like if you have low sight or you can't like differentiate, even like some of the uneven spots, it's going to be a problem. So Ben didn't really want to go over there, and like have to worry about navigating those like wavy spots. But also, I've heard, and I saw it, and I've heard from others that are reporting it that some of those areas it looks like it's like pulling up or like uneven, and like so it's kind of making a hazard that way too, like pulling up.
Right. Plus, one thing she missed was it was also really crowded.
Right. Well, that's why we've had to go through there a couple of times. Because it's been so crowded that we needed to like be able to experience it, so we waited. And yeah, when we went through to by Donald, it was really crowded, and because of that bumpy stuff, he didn't want to have to like navigate that plus the people. And that's another negative, is that when it's crowded, there's a lot of choke points. Like behind Donald's boat is a really narrow choke point, and then over by the firehouse, I got my wheelchair stuck, or my scooter stuck over there, and had to back out because it was like a choke point.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of those little areas that are not really wide enough for a wheelchair plus somebody coming the other direction, which is a problem. Yeah. And then, I noticed that when we were eating at Daisy's, and when we were over by Daisy's, there's a lot of seating down in the flat area. But if you want to get one of those neat little areas, that's kind of private on one, like the little patio raised second level area, they're all like, you have to get upstairs to get to those spots. There's no ramp.
No ramps, not wheelchair accessible.
Yeah. So I thought, well, that's kind of, I would have liked to have had a like nice quiet spot to like sit above and like kind of watch everything, but there was no.
We got stuck in the middle of, with the way the seating is, you get stuck in the lines.
Yeah, you get stuck, like there's lines crossing through, and again, it's like another little choke point for us, and it was hard to navigate.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of, I think, the pluses and minuses I've thought of. So I'm not sure how much input Disney really sought from actual disabled people between that and how the ride Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway is. What I think that they could have done is taken a hint from Shane's Inspiration. I don't know how many of you know about that. It's mostly in California. It's a series of playgrounds. I believe that the first one was in Griffith Park. I remember being involved in fundraising for that. And it's a series of parks that are meant to be, inclusive for everybody. Kids with disabilities can play right alongside with kids that don't have disabilities. A lot more accessible features than what we see at Toontown. There's swings you don't have to get out of your chair. There's, just merry-go-rounds where you don't have to get out of your chair. You can stay in your chair and spin around with other kids on a merry-go-round, or the little where you would stand on a merry-go-round. That brings me back. That brings me to, I forgot to even touch on Goofy's, the play yard. That is what is triggering me about
Shane's Inspiration,
because they're very similar. Like that would be the playground type area of Toontown, and most of Goofy's play yard has all of these aspects where you have to get out of your wheelchair to experience it, like those little spinny flowers, and the teeter-totter. Pretty much all of that is things that if a kid wanted to do it, their parent would have to get them out of their chair. And
what I noticed about the way it's designed, Disney must have, they did think of a lot of different disabilities, but they didn't go that extra step.
Yes. It's clear that they thought of children with no sight.
Yeah.
Because they put Braille. But is the area where the Braille is practical for somebody that's low vision or blind to use with the uneven ground? So it's like a mismatch, and then like it's a half of an idea here and a half of an idea there. Like, yeah. It's a lot of good intentioned ideas, I think, and like
where they miss is the implementation.
Yeah, like there's a ramp for kids in wheelchair to go up to the slides, but how practical is it? That area for kids in a wheelchair to go down a slide and then have to be in the way while they're trying to get their wheelchair.
Hey, let me go up a slide, go down the slide, and wait 2 minutes for my mom and dad to bring me my chair, so I can get out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
It's the one thing I can't stand at that.
Yeah. Yeah. That Goofy's Play Yard was a kind of a miss, and like I say, Shane's inspiration.
Yes.
If Disney had taken a hint from that and visited a couple of those, I think they would have had some more well thought out, accessible ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, you know, a merry-go-round where you could stay in your wheelchair and be with other kids that are not in wheelchairs or something like that. Yeah, those flowers too. I'm like, who are those like flowers, those spinny flowers for? Because it'd be difficult for anybody to get into those.
I saw able-bodied adults sitting on those, and they had trouble getting out.
Well, because they're small, but I mean, like even an able-bodied kid, it's like those are awkward.
There's no leg cutouts.
It's weird. So, but if they had something like that like was lower to the ground and maybe was easier to transfer out of a wheelchair into it, that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's just half implementations everywhere. And I wish that they had visited somewhere like Shane's Inspiration and taken more of that approach and been a little more thoughtful with the implementation.
Yeah, I will say it's a beautiful land.
Oh, it's beautiful. We love going over there.
Yeah, it just can't do anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can go up a ramp.
It'll be interesting if we go over there and the splash pad's working. I've been trying to get him to go through it at least once, but I can see why he wouldn't want to get everything rusty if that actually.
No, I'm not going through that.
But on a hot day, if you're desperate, I mean, hey, I might want to get out of the scooter and run through it myself if it's hot.
If it's a hot day, if it's going to be a hot day and I'm desperate, I'll just stay home.
Yeah, true. True. So, I mean, that's really our overview of what we think from a disability point of view is good and not so good about Toontown. What are your thoughts? Have you been to Toontown, the new Toontown, and seen some things that you like or don't like about, the implementation of the accessibility aspects?
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
Yeah. And so with that, if you like this video, please leave a comment and give us a thumbs up. And make sure you're subscribed and have those notifications on so you know when we have more adventures. And remember,
adventure is out there.